The reason why I wear this hat too, because every time, late night after work, like, how you doing, Scott? I go, I'm smashed. So they were like, my partner was like, this is the perfect hat for you.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're
cool.
We're good.
So. Welcome to Staying Hungry. Special guest today, Scottie Campbell. I would say maybe like a godfather of nightlife here on Long Island.
I don't know about godfather, maybe like an older step uncle.
Fair enough, but Scottie, you've been doing it for 30 years. Probably scary to say.
Yeah, about since I bought my first place when I was 21, and I'm 54 now. So yeah, it's about 33 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And, we always like to, Vin and I always like to kind of just walk down memory lane with the guests and just kind of say, like, how do you think it started, or do you remember the days of like what it was? Was it a bartender? Was it sooner than that got you interested in hospitality? Do you remember?
I do. I remember I always loved to be around people in the bar business. I started out as a dishwasher as a young kid in high school. And then I became, I was a dishwasher, then a bar back, then I started bartending. And I really didn't know what I really wanted to do. I was in and out of colleges. And then one day, Mark Miller, which is still my partner, 33 years later, was opening a place. He was actually established already, Dublin Down in Blue Point.
I remember. Before we got on air, I was telling you, I used Joey's ID to get in Dublin Down, Planet Dublin.
Was a legend in the business. And so I guess he had a falling out with his partner. And he was like, hey, Scottie, why don't you buy my partner out? At that time, I think it was maybe 60 grand. That might as well have been 4 million.
Sure.
I had no money.
Certainly felt like it, right?
Yeah. So I kind of figured it out. I borrowed some money off a couple people, 10 grand here, 15 grand, and I finally got it together. And then, we hit it off the ground running. We just were very, very successful. And that just started at one point, I think we had 6 or 7 Dublins. We just started buying Dublins. And
at that time, fair to say, those were nightclubs.
Yeah.
These were not restaurant food. Turned.
No.
Yeah.
I think we had popcorn that a lot of the people really didn't eat too well, and bar pizzas. That's about it. Yeah, total nightclub. Different than today. I guess the laws may have changed. But back then, you didn't need to have food to have a liquor license. Today, I believe you do have to have food to have a liquor license. So we didn't know anything really about food, and nor did we want to know about food. And it was just fun and
music, drinking, dancing,
DJ, drinking, dancing. Yep.
And what year was this that you
1991.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was pretty much, I graduated in '89 from high school, and about 2 years later, we opened. I have it because for one of my 50th birthday, Mark Miller gave me the original liquor license.
Oh, really?
I think it was like $1,200, 1991.
What a cool gift.
Yeah. It was cool. I didn't know it still existed, but he held on to it.
You're a Long Islander.
Yep.
You went to high school where?
Pat Med.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so you didn't go too far.
No, I really, one town over was my first place. Yep.
Got it. So that was Dublin Down in 91.
91.
And then what followed from there? Dublin over, Dublin.
So yeah, let me try to remember. So Dublin Down was the first one. And it was kind of cool because in high school, my group of friends, we were very popular. So it was getting our friends to come to Blue Point. So, and then everyone kind of followed us around. Our second one was Dublin Up in Bayshore, New York.
Okay.
And that was more of a real club, 2-story club. What sits there? The Irish place sits there now. Nutty Irishman?
Nutty, okay.
Yeah. So then that was our second one. And I think a couple years later, I think in 93, 94, then we went out to Hampton Bays.
Right off Sunrise.
Yeah. Right? The old Cruiser Club, I believe it was called. And then it became Dublin Over. And that really put us on the map. The whole summertime, we do 1,000 people a night. It got really, really crazy. And then from there, actually, when I met your brother, we started doing Planet Dublin in Stony Brook.
Was that Carrington's?
Yeah, it was Carrington's.
Wow, I couldn't believe I remember that.
Yeah. You were young back then.
Yeah.
And that was a monster because it was a 2-story nightclub, outdoor space, probably fit 15 to 2,000 people. And then those were the 4 or 5. I think we got involved with a place in Hofstra too, Dublin U, for a little while, and that was a quick place, and that for years it was about the nightclubs and the DJs and the dancing, and I think around the early 2000s,
2001.
yeah, it kind of like stopped. Nightclubs weren't, I guess, cool anymore, and I. Out in the Hamptons, they really busted chops because there was a lot of DWs, there was a lot of house sharing, and the town just didn't want to deal with it anymore, and they kind of really put a lot of pressure on us. So towards the end of the 2007, 2008, we kind of like phased out and got more into the hospitality as far as restaurants. Okay. It seemed like if you didn't have a restaurant and you weren't a multi-purpose place, you weren't going to survive. That's about the time when we started establishing the Parabel. John Perugine, he was a high school friend of mine, and that's the name Perugine and Scottie Campbell.
Half of each other's names.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. And Planet was all with Mark Miller?
Yep.
Or were there others?
Yeah, so me and Mark were the major owners. There was 2 other guys, Dennis Ganley, I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
And Mike Murphy, he's a big real estate guy.
Douglas Elliman guys.
Yeah.
Today.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were partners for a while. I would say we were at Planet for about 10 to 12 years. Yep. Wow. About that. Yep.
Yeah. And another guy, Mike Murphy, who I feel like things he touch always turn to gold.
Just a smart guy, and we're
he's
still
a great guy.
Great friends today.
Yeah.
I call him a lot on advice. He has actually found me places or tried to sell places that I own. We have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you started to talk about the food. What came next? I know you guys have Harbor Crab.
Yeah, so we've been in Harbor Crab for a while. During this whole thing, we bought Harbor Crab as well. It wasn't a Dublin, but it was our first full-scale restaurant, Mark and I, and we still have it today. I think we're going on 20. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention Dublin Deck.
That was in 1998.
That was 98, yeah.
I graduated high school. My 20th reunion was at Dublin Deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that one is very special. It's still going, It's
almost
a big
30 years?
Yeah, we're at 27 years, I believe. And that is, we're crushing it. We're open from May 1st to, I think our last day was yesterday. We usually try to go to Columbus Day, but we had a couple things going on. So that is probably our busiest one. That was our 5th one, Dublin Deck. And we're lucky enough to purchase the property. And we have the whole marina, about 286 slips. So that was that really put us on the map. Then we were like, wow, this is great.
Did that location, start off serving food, or did that follow?
It did, but nothing great. It was like if your burger wasn't cooked enough, you're like, oh, sorry, and they give it back to you. We weren't super serious about the food at that place because it was, again, seasonal, high volume. So we didn't want to open ourselves up with such criticism by doing like a big cuisine. So we kept it simple, chicken fingers, burgers. Over the years, we got better. Now we have a full-scale menu, but it's not taking it as serious as the Parabels and ITAs and stuff like that.
You kind of know what you're coming there for
right.
The atmosphere.
Yeah. Atmosphere.
Could eat something,
bands,
but
DJs.
Hear some music.
Right. And it's right on the water, right on the Patchogue River. So it's nice. And we just did a renovation the year after COVID, 2022, I believe. We put about $2 million into it and redid the whole entire place. So now it's a lot different than it was. Our occupancy is close to 1,600 people. Wow. So it's a big spot. Yep.
Any other plans in the Patchogue area for something of that?
Yeah, not as big as that. About 2 years ago, I bought into Meatball. My partner, Joe Reale, had 2 other partners. I bought them out, and I had this vision that I wanted to do forever. And this opportunity came. We ended up buying the building next door about 18 months ago, and I'm coming up with this. It's Meatball, still going to be Meatball. It's actually, the renovation's almost done. Put a couple $100,000 into the Meatball area. We did the bathrooms, the bar, all new seating, all new inside. And that's going to be called Amsterdam. And that's going to be the Meatball space. And behind Meatball space is going to be a Smashburger place, which I always wanted to open. It's called Millie Smashburger. And we opened up this past weekend, which was great. And then behind that is going to be a speakeasy called Aces and Eights.
Wow.
And the build out's completely done. It came out better than I thought it would. We're going to do a membership scale. So there's going to be a membership that you pay. So I want to try to kind of choose our own crowd. It's not a big space. Probably fits about 100 to 120 people. So the membership for Aces and Eights, you'll have a per diem. You pay $1,000. You get $1,000 credit for the food and for drink at the place. And this way, we kind of almost choose our own crowd. Between Joe and I and our team, we feel we could sell 120 ourselves easily. So that's the next phase that we're going in. Smashburger with a speakeasy behind it. That's what I'm excited about.
And this is all in the same building.
Same building. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's about 8,900 square feet, the whole space, but there's really 3 different concepts.
Got it.
And I'm excited
And it's on Main Street in
right.
Patchogue.
Yeah, it's 51 West Main Street in Patchogue.
Nice.
And the speakeasy is going to have food?
Yes. More of tapas, more of appetizers. And we brought this guy in Hollywood. He's a big mixologist.
Yeah.
So we're going to upscale the drinks. It's really my first place that I've owned besides ITA that's upscale.
Yeah.
And it's more about the drinks and the appetizers, not so much about the DJ and the bands and stuff like that.
Got it. And what about tap room? That was yours.
Yep.
Right.
That was another original idea that I had. It was so weird how times have changed. Back then, craft beer was everything. About 10 years ago, and I had Parabel. It was the first Parabel, but I was buying the new Parabel, and Jamie Bonanno and Dave Johnson came. They were bartenders on me for Dublin Deck, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to get into the business." I'm like, "Listen, I had this idea. I want to do." At that time, it was like 25 drafts. It seemed like a lot. But I want to do 25 drafts, simple food, great place to watch games, and we'll change our drafts every month and really get into the craft beer business. And they just grabbed it and they ran with it, and they were very excited about it. And I had a lot going on at the time. So they were like, "Hey, what's your plan?" And I'm like, "Well, I kind of, at that time, my kids were small. I'm like, I really want to get in the restaurant business. I don't want to be out till 4 a.m. anymore." So they're like, "Well, can we run with it?" I'm like, "Yeah, run with it." And
they bought Patchogue from you, right?
They bought Patchogue. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We were partners for about a year. Me, John Perugine, and those guys. And they loved the concept, and they were really great at it. Now I think they have 8 to 10 places.
Something like that. Yeah. I know we see sometimes the 2 broke bartenders, like the article just keeps swirling.
Yeah.
Your name is tied to it.
I remember them too. I forgot what they bought me out for, but they were like, "We don't have that money." I'm like, "Well, I figured it out. Now you guys have to."
Yeah.
It's funny because we're actually partners at Tobay Beach.
Salt Shack.
Salt Shack, that's in
Boatyard.
Cedar Beach, and Boatyard, which is there's 2 restaurants, Surf Shack and Boatyard. That's in Tobay Beach, and then 5 miles east of that is Salt Shack, Overlook Beach, and Mark and I and those 2 are partners.
Very nice.
Yep, and they're great to work with, energetic guys, great.
And those are leases through state.
Yeah,
it's not like you own those properties.
No, it was a bid, and I think we got 10 years. With every 5 years, another option. So we could be there. I'll probably be long gone, but another 20, 30 years if we like, as long as we don't screw up.
Right.
And
pay your bills.
Yeah, pay our bills.
I think that was a problem.
Pay our taxes. Yeah. I think there's a little problem there. And it's very exciting because it's only in the summertime. Like, we're busy 4 months, and it's cool to see those guys. Like, me and Dave are very close in the summer. So it's fun to see them in the summer, and then we don't really talk to each other until the following summer, which is kind of good, so we don't get sick of each other.
Yeah. Scottie, how vital is it to just have the right team? And before we started really talking, like I said, over the years I've said this to others, like, everything Scottie touches turns to gold, and I'm sure you could dispel that.
I would say 60%. No, a lot of it does. I've been very successful with a lot of places, and I had some things that weren't great, and I think because I didn't have the right team. I didn't have the right guys around me. I was very, very fortunate to meet Mark Miller, and he kind of brought me into the business. And then years later, Mike Murphy and Dennis Ganley, and they were great operators and great guys. And then more recently, John Perugine, and then more recently Jamie Bonanno, and Dave Johnson, and now Joe's reality. He owns the Popeyes as well.
Okay.
Yeah. He's my partner at Meatball. Just, I think having a lot of people like, wow, man, you guys have 2 or 3 partners at some businesses. And how does that work? For me, I like it. I like to grow with somebody. I like to share the work with somebody. And my biggest thing is share the ideas and brainstorm and come up with something and create something together.
Yeah, well, you said it earlier with tap room. Like if you just did that yourself, it may have failed because you were stretched too thin.
Yeah,
bringing on those 2 guys was actually a blessing in disguise.
It was brilliant, and I was excited when they were like, "We're gonna go run with this," and I gave them my blessing, and I was super excited. And now I'm watching their kids grow up, and they're super successful, and they're just outstanding guys. And it's cool that we're still partners because I get to see them, and we have some fun together. Yeah.
They're also South Shore guys, or?
Yep. Dave's actually from Patchogue, and Jamie grew up around the block from where I live now. His mom still lives there in Blue Point. Wow. Yeah.
Did you know him as a kid?
Yeah, I knew him when he was about 17 years old. Yeah, okay. He was a good basketball player at a Blue Point, and I always knew Dave Johnson. He was an outstanding baseball player. Back at Pat Med, he played with Marcus Stroman. Wow. He was a little older than Marcus. His brother was Marcus's catcher. So I knew of him, and they bartended very young at my place. They used to do Dublin Deck in the mid-2000s, late 2000s. They were bartenders, and I can't believe how far they came since then. Yeah, great.
On the personal side, you have children?
I do.
Yeah.
I have Scottie Jr. He's a senior this year. He goes to, he's been around a little bit, went to Tampa.
Senior from college.
Yeah.
Okay.
He went to Tampa. Poor kid, that he was a COVID. I call them COVID kids because they had no senior year. So he went to Pace in New York City, then to Tampa, then back to Pace, and now he's home finishing up. He's at 5 Towns.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does he study?
He studies similar to what I do. Big events, hospitality, big events, and audio engineering. Those are his 2 subjects. And he loves the business. Sometimes I wanted him to take it over someday, but it's also scary too. It's a lot of hours.
For him or for you?
For
or
me,
both?
yeah.
You just know how the life is.
Yeah, it's a tough life. Thank God I have a great wife, and we've been together for 23 years, and she's very supportive. But
is she in the business with you in any capacity?
School teacher.
Besides for supporting. Oh, okay.
She's a school teacher,
yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Because we kind of keep my life separate.
Yeah.
And now I don't work as much, but there was weeks where I was working 100, 120 hours a week. Sure. And it was tough because, kids were young and she was teaching, and we just had to figure it out. And sometimes, do you really want that for your kids? Being at a nightclub till 5 a.m, and bad things can happen.
Yeah. Sounds like your son might be a mix of you and Theo.
Yeah, pretty much.
By his studying.
And then I have another son. He's going to Baruch in 23rd and Lex in New York City now.
For music?
Yep. He's going for business. He's minoring in music. And he plays basketball. Yep. Okay. So he's excited. They're starting the season right now.
Do they work with you summertime?
Yep. They Scottie works 4 to 5 days a week bartending at Boatyard, at Dublin Deck, and the Crab, I believe. And then Tully's at bartends at Dublin Deck 5 days a week. They love it, but I don't know if they love it 12 months a year. They love coming home in the summer and working.
It's different running it than working it.
Yeah. And, it's a lot of hours, and it's busy. And it's kind of like, I made $2,500 this week. I'm like, that's not real money. That's not the real world. You're not going to be doing this when you're 30 years old, So for me, I hope they get real careers, and not that my career is not real, but I want them to go out and, make their own path,
Maybe gives you comfort that they have fallback.
Right, yeah. And I think it gives them comfort because it gives them a chance to go out and give it a shot, do something. If it doesn't work out, they can always get involved with me. Yeah. Tully, my little guy, he's really into DJing now. He actually, Theo and him talk all the time. He's starting to make his own music. He worked at Boatyard for, he's 19 years old, but now he's really getting into DJ. That's all he does. He just sits home and DJs, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Sorry, Vin.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, growing and running businesses in and around the Patchogue area. I think we were talking about it on a prior podcast of just the transition of that area.
Wow.
Walk us through a little of that, because it seems like you were there through it all.
Yeah, I was there in the beginning. So we opened up Dublin Deck 1998, and Patchogue.
Scary.
That was scary. Yeah, and a friend of mine, my dad's friend actually, was a gentleman named Paul Pontieri, which now he's the mayor. So I had Dublin Deck from 98, and then we were opening the original Parabel with tap room is now. And this was around 2004. We just got the building, and it was a dump. Patchogue was bad. Like, you didn't even want to drive through it. And I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. And Paul came to me. He goes, "Hey, I'm running for mayor." He goes, "I want to put a hotel in this town. I want to turn this town around. I knew you grew up in the village. You're the youngest of 8 children. You guys all grew up here. Let's bring Patchogue back." And I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. So we talked for a while. He came down to the restaurant where I was fixing it up, and he had this whole plan. There was a couple of people still there originally. Barbecue was there, and I believe Gaio Tropical was there. David was there. It's like 3 or 4 of us there. But we're like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to get this town back to where it used to be when we were young kids? It was a great town. So Paul's like, I'm going to run for mayor. You could carte blanche. You could do festivals. You could do whatever you need to do to make business great. But we need to get some of your colleagues to buy some restaurants here. At the time, it was 3 or 4 restaurants. So I remember talking to him about 2 o'clock in the morning as he's walking out. I'm like, "Paul," he's like, "What?" I go, "Are you going to win?" He's like, "I sure hope so." So he did win. I think this was 2005. And a couple of my colleagues did come into the town. And then we started opening up restaurants. And then there's a couple retail things opened up. And then at the time, Vinny, God bless him, passed away. But he wanted to do a festival, and that's how we started the Alive to 5. He came to me because I guess he was down south somewhere, and he saw it. He goes, "It was a great event." And we did it, and I promoted it. I remember the first one we did 100 people. And then I was like, what is this? But then it just grew, and then the right people came in, and then obviously Paul's dream was always have a hotel. And then TriTech came in, and they bought the 4 corners, and they just redid that all. And that really changed Patchogue and went from a real, I wouldn't even say sleepy, I would say crime town. It was bad. And then it exploded from there. And it wasn't just me, but it was Paul, myself, all the guys that were originally there, and then all the new blood that came in. And now we're all colleagues. It's funny, I don't look at the other places as competition. I look at like, how do we get Patchogue better? Like, it's going through another change right now. That's why I knew when I wanted to buy Meatball, I knew the new change was coming up, and some new players are coming in town, and I'm excited about it.
They're building a hotel, right?
Yes,
that was approved.
It's right across the river from Harbor Crab. The building with a bowling alley was. The building, and that was Paul's dream. He just wants that thing to go up. And I think it's going to do well. A lot of people are like, wow, hotel, how's it going to do? I think it's going to do well because you're so close to Fire Island and you're so close to MacArthur Airport. So I think it's going to do well. It's a whole new rebirth. There's new places coming in. There's some guys that were there for a while that are moving on. And I think we're going to make our another splash.
Is there a restaurant in the hotel?
There will be a restaurant.
Are you anyone bidding for it? Or
well, not yet. I've spoken to the owners, but it's going to be a real restaurant, and I'd be super interested in doing it, but it's a little premature right now.
Got it. Yeah. Did they even break ground yet?
No.
Is the bowling alley still standing?
Yeah. I saw Paul yesterday. I had a meeting with him about something else, and he's just very anxious.
Is he still the mayor?
He is.
Still?
Yeah, he's getting, I think he's been mayor for over 20 years now, and he's getting old. I think he has 2 more years left, and we talked about his predecessor, who's going to take over. And, I mentioned a couple of people. He mentioned a couple of people. We just want someone that's going to see his vision of being pro-business, but also a safe, good community.
You have any interest?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, mayor?
Mayor.
No man. Oh, I thought you were talking about
Scottie,
the restaurant.
Scottie for mayor?
Yeah. I actually couldn't because you have to live in the village of Patchogue.
Okay.
And I don't. But
what do you see? Like you mentioned, when you were younger, the town of Patchogue was vibrant, went downhill, came back again. It seems like a lot of communities on the island seem to be going through some part of that transition.
like a rebirth, I mean?
Yeah, or even a downturn a little, right? In certain areas, they feel that once we're great, they're starting to fall off. So, like, what do you see as, growing up in the area? Why did you think it went down? There was a downturn before it had to come back. Was it
That's a
political?
great question. I think so. What really hurt Patchogue was this is way before Amazon and or when retail it went up to Sunrise Highway. They built that whole area, all those malls. Now they're in a rebirth too because Amazon's crushing everybody. Yeah. But they brought all the retail up to Sunrise Highway, so there's no reason to go to Patchogue anymore. So the restaurants suffered. There was no more retail, and there was like an old school vision that let's just keep these buildings empty, keep everybody out, but it made it worse. So Paul Ponieri's Mayor Paul was like, listen, we got to get these stores filled, and he eminent domained a couple people because they were just sitting on the property because their taxes were so low they could afford to do that. But he was really responsible for that rebirth, and thank God we gave it a shot because now if you go to Patchogue Friday, Saturday, it's jammed. We had a phenomenal weekend, and now it's come down to the waterfront. Guys like John Sarnell that owns the Village Idiot, they bought Drift 182 on the other side of the river, and the Ore House is probably about 6 or 7 cool places on the river. So now when you go to Patchogue, or if you even live in Patchogue, there's a lot to do. And I think there's towns trying to do it. I know Amityville's trying to do it. Lindenhurst doing it. When we got involved with Bayshore, with Dublin Up back in the day, they were in the middle of rebirth, and now they're thriving as well. Yeah. Babylon's thriving, Rockville Center. So there's a lot of really good things that are happening. But I think the key is to have the entrepreneurs have to be youthful and ideaful, like guys like Dave Johnson and Jamie. They're bringing all different ideas and different options for the consumer, which I think is very important. We're very diverse in Patchogue. We have a great Italian place. We have a great Spanish place. We have a great Mexican place. We have a lot of American
40
places.
restaurants, probably.
Yeah, right. And probably radius. Like 7 square miles.
And how do you, I live closer to Rockville Center, and it seems like they're going through a little change on their end, and they're very adverse to building rental communities. Patchogue seemed to kind of build these rental communities,
and he wants more.
And now it's thriving because of it.
I think that's a big deal. I think the housing, you have to get the housing down.
People
first.
are afraid of housing because they think that it's going to drive more traffic, lower income.
And that was a concept with Patchogue too. There was a lot of people averse to the Tritech building. All those, I think there's 400 units. They were very, very against it. And it kind of split politics-wise, Patchogue. There was people, the old school thinking was like, we don't want any more housing, get rid of it. I think that's what was the rebirth of Patchogue, that they allowed that. And we're still building. There's another community coming in with another 280 units. So I think, for me personally, I believe that's what you need. You need the housing. And I'm not saying affordable housing.
Right? Because there's nowhere to live.
Right.
If you're between 20 and 30 and single,
right. And it's so expensive. I'm worried about my children being able to afford a house. But if you can't afford a house, you could rent a place for $1,800 in a beautiful town. Yeah. And I think that's
a roommate and you're good.
Yeah. And that's what I think Patchogue really, they got that message across. Hey, why live in New York City? We have the LAR right here. You can go to Fire Island, the ferry, and there's 40 restaurants here. And they sold that, and it worked. And I think if towns, like you said, I think the housing is probably 67% of it. Yeah.
Is there an advisory board in Patchogue?
There is.
Committees and all that are engaged with Paul?
Yep. We have our own restaurant committee. Everyone in a restaurant that's in the Chamber of Commerce. We have a phenomenal Chamber of Commerce right now. They're very pro-business. But we sit down once a month, but we do the Live to 5. We do the New Year's Eve fireworks show.
I think there's a big Christmas something, right?
spectacular
The
that we
boat,
just
the
had
boat
a
show
meeting.
or something like that.
There's, I would say, about 9 to 10 events every year that the whole restaurant communities are very involved with. Not a lot of retail, but the ones that are there have been there for a while, and they're very cooperative, and they want people to come. I mean, what we did with the Alive to 5, this year we did 15,000 people. Starting in 2004 with 100 people, now it's 15,000 people. Now everyone relies on that, and I think a lot of people copied what Patchogue did. I know I bought a building out in Riverhead, and the first thing they said, they're like, "How do we get the Alive to 5 out here?" And we did, but it just didn't work like Patchogue. Patchogue, Alive to 5 is an amazing thing that was super successful. And I think that's what it is. It's the youth and guys like Jamie Bonanno and Dave Johnson and a lot of my colleagues in the business that just want to promote, and not be in competition with each other, but to promote the whole town. And I think of other towns. I know the guys own a place in Rockville Center Tap Room. Yeah. And I'm like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? What do you guys have, committee meetings? He goes, no, because we don't do it like Patchogue does it. I'm like, why not? And I guess the feeling is, hey, I'm doing good, so I'm worried about myself. I think if towns really took that Patchogue formula that I'm so proud to be part of, that'd be a lot more successful.
I know the guys have tap room in Massapequa Park, and
right.
They do a good one. I live in Massapequa Park,
right.
and 4 or 5 times.
They have committee meetings. They're really involved. I think it has to do a lot with the chamber. You have to have a strong chamber that are people that are pro restaurant, pro business. Yeah. And those towns like Massapequa, they do a great job with that.
Yeah. I think, when the weather's good, there could be 10,000 people, and,
right.
and it's certainly not as big of an area as Patchogue is,
right.
but I mean, 10,000 people.
But it helps, especially on a night during the week where normally it wouldn't be that busy.
I mean, everybody wants an excuse to do something.
Right.
I mean, and there's really no better way. And as long as it's managed properly and orderly, then I mean, it's a no-brainer.
You said it before, like, us growing up, we had nightclubs.
Right.
Now there are no nightclubs.
Right.
But the desire to go out and have fun and hang out with friends and meet people hasn't disappeared.
Right.
It's just it's moved to a different venue.
Yeah, I think that food got more involved. Like back in the day at Planet Dublin, we weren't thinking about food.
Yeah, we weren't going out till 10 o'clock,
11:30 at night.
Yeah, but now food is king.
Yeah, now you have to have food.
Well, it's an extension of dinner, and that's where, it's funny. I was speaking to a few friends of mine of like, we're saying, as an older, I'm in my 40s, where we'll go out to dinner, but like there's a market that's missing to like, where do we go after dinner?
Right.
That I'm not going to hang out, a tap room, right?
Right.
Like there's that missing.
That's what the whole concept behind
like you were
Aces and
saying,
Eights.
yeah, exactly.
Right. You and your wife, and then with the membership, you're gonna have, being 3 or 4 people with you, and that's like my wife and I go out. And we don't like to go out for a big dinner and you eat so much. All right, let's go to bed. Like to have little tapas stuff and then go to another place and have a couple cocktails. Yeah.
But it's hard finding that other place.
Right. And that's what I opened up Aces and Eights. It's not open yet, but soon. That was my whole mentality. I'm not necessarily want that 7 to 10 big dinner crowd. I want that afterwards. Hey, where can we go get a martini and listen to a cool jazz band or a cool EDM DJ? It's not going to be that crazy DJ driven, but beautiful. But
what you're also going to get clientele wise walking in, right? Like sometimes that's the biggest.
You're almost handpicking your clientele because of the atmosphere. Yeah. And me and my partner, we just did this build out. We're like, oh my God, I can't believe we spent this much money. But now everything in that whole entire place, from the bathroom to the sink to the flooring to all the different fabrics and the picture frame TVs, and it's beautiful. Like you're like, holy cow, this is gorgeous. And definitely spent way too much money, but you're gonna be going there with your wife and a couple of your friends, and be like, wow,
it's built to last.
This place is great. Yeah, and it's not disgusting.
Who designed it?
So I kind of designed it. I had a interior designer come in, Dawn Peppercelli, I believe her last name is, and she was just great. She would sit with all these different fabrics. I'm like, I don't know if this goes, And then we just finished it, and I'll send you some pictures. And we're like, holy cow, I knew what I wanted in my head, but I just couldn't get it out. And she got it out. And
over the years, have you guys designed, or you always brought someone in?
no, this was the first time I could afford someone. Yeah.
Gotcha. You fed the thoughts.
Yeah.
She
I
made
sat
it
down
come
with
to
her.
life.
You know, we had a bottle of wine so I could get everything out. And she just came up with it. It was phenomenal. She goes, what are you trying to get here? And I told her. There was a place, I don't know if you remember, you're probably young, called The Whiskey at the in the hotel. Randy Gerber, Cindy Crawford's husband, opened it. And that's what it was. It was a sick, beautiful, beautiful lounge. The whole staff were like in a black cat suit, and every guy was gorgeous, and bottles with cocktail waitresses. And I was like, I could die here. This is how cool. And that's the kind of vision that I have with Aces and Eights. And I think that's why it's taken me forever to open up, because I haven't nailed it yet, staff-wise, and I just finished it. But we're very excited about that.
When's that opening?
Hopefully mid-December.
Not Thanksgiving Eve.
No, I know. I don't know. That might change, because my partner's like, we need to capitalize on that.
Start getting some monies in the till.
And something that's kind of cool that we haven't talked about is I also have a promotional group with this guy named Joe Ganone Jr., which reminds me of your brother so much. He's he's 23 years old. He's this old school promoter, but he's a kid that just lights up the room, shakes everybody's hands. So me, him, and DJ Theo, I'd say about 7 years ago, not about 5 years ago, came together. I'm like, guys, let's do these old school house parties. And I think that the hip hop kind of music was fading out and house music was coming back. So the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
So we went to the Boatyard, and Theo was like, what's your slowest night? I'm like, well, I'm not even open on Wednesday. He goes, let's take Wednesday and let's build this night, and, you know, get the dancers, get the stilt walkers, get the percussion guy, get the violinist, get the saxophone. I'm like, wow, it's going to cost us $5,000 before we even open. He's like, I know, but if we do it, and then I agree with him. And Joe was like, I'll get the people in. With the technology now you have today, you could sell tickets. We sell tickets on Posh. But this summer we were doing 2,500 people.
Wow. Which is interesting, because you say Joe, he's a kid. He wasn't even around for the Hamptons era music.
The city still has it,
right?
I mean, like, we're almost.
But
even
back.
Then, at 23, he missed it.
This
then.
kid's an old school, old heart. He's been promoting for a while, and I think me and Theo
colleges too.
Colleges, he went to St. John's.
That's cool.
And his parties are very successful. Like Sessions took over Wednesday nights at Tobay. We do Rockville Center Tap Room once a month. We do Painters coming up December. We do like these one-offs, these pop-ups. But our Wednesday night was so successful, the guys from OK's gave me a call. They're like, hey, you know, can you meet Theo? Can you come meet? We're like, oh, cool. We'll throw a party. We did a couple, and there was great on a Saturday night, 1,500 to 2,000 people, which I think the house music is bringing people back, and the DJs are. So we sat down with them about a month ago, and they were like, I'm like, what Saturdays you want us to do? What do you want? They're like, no, we want you to move the party, because you close in the summertime, after the summertime, and bring it to Mulcahy's. And we were like, wow, we're honored, you know. So it's a challenge for us. You know, our first one is this Wednesday. But now we're starting to book other acts, other DJs. The guy that sings Cash Out, we have coming. And some DJs that are
it goes like
it's
peaks
crazy.
and valleys with it.
You know, when I got out of business in the early 2000s, when Joey D was really involved, house music was everything. Yeah. And Theo was huge. And it kind of went to the late 2000s, and then hip-hop took over. Yeah. And because my kids grew up on hip-hop. Mm-hmm. You know, they were like, they didn't listen to house music.
But I feel like now it's back again.
The DJs, like, we did a couple pop-ups out in Montauk, and it was all DJ driven, which is good to hear, because our sessions, that's what we call it, sessions, is more of a drinking crowd. It's more of a bottle service, and that's what every owner is looking for. Like, how do I get a drinking crowd? Because in Happy Days is a sponsor. They're a dispensary. Yeah. And Happy Dad, they're also a sponsor. They sponsor sessions, but it's crazy because this industry is going to the marijuana. You know, I see it. I see
edibles.
the edibles. I see kids microdosing. I don't see them, but you hear about it. And it's legal. They smoke weed. So they're not drinking as much.
But that doesn't benefit you.
No.
If you're not drinking.
So what I did, Keith Hart owns Happy Days. I sat down and I'm like, how do I get the marijuana people and the drinking people to merge? 10 years ago, you would never hear about that because they're totally different crowds. Yeah. Like this was a, stay home, eat Cheetos and not go out. And this crowd loves to go out. But what I did, so Happy Days came in. They say, hey, what's your busiest night? I'm like, Thursday, we do 2,000 people. Like, all right, let's make the whole back Happy Days. We called it Happy Space. And it worked. Like, because that was legal. People were smoking weed in the back. We can't sell it. They didn't sell it. But just promos and like made the weed people not ashamed.
A destination.
Yeah. And they weren't ashamed. A lot of people like, my partner Mark Miller was like, because he doesn't drink or anything. He was like, "You're crazy." I'm like, I'm telling you.
Is he old school, quote unquote? Old school.
Very old school.
He's older than you.
Yeah, he's about. He'll be about 60. He's about 6 years older than me, but he also doesn't drink, and he really doesn't really go out. He's more of the restaurant guy. But he's like, Scotty, I don't know. Are people gonna look down on us for doing this? And there was a little bit of like a bad reputation when it comes to marijuana, but I think it's going away. Like every Thursday night, they actually sponsored the Alive to 5, and then everyone would go to Dublin Deck afterwards, and it was great. And honestly, we had less trouble. So I feel like when people are high, they're more in a good mood.
Chill.
They're chill.
They're not looking to get into a fight.
No, they don't drink as much, but they did drink. Years prior, we didn't get him to come out.
Is there a cover charge?
There is at that particular place.
I guess that's some offset,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just have people not buying drinks and not charging them nothing.
Yeah, but
then
the industry has changed, though. Besides sessions, even in my other places, the drinking's have really gone down. And I don't know if it's because of marijuana or is that people are more health conscious.
It's like a generation thing. I think the newer generations are not.
Yeah,
really
even
it's
my
not
sons, they don't, like we used to get smashed until we couldn't get smashed anymore.
And what's crazy, I think, also is that they're way more conscious of risk in regards to driving.
They are.
I mean, I think, and
Thank God
we
for
sit,
Ubers.
Well, thank God for Ubers, but I think we were a lot more
stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Where, I don't think, whether it was cabs or people that just said, I'm going to drive, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just are way more conscious and responsible.
Way more conscious, yeah. Like my son's, one's 19 and one's 22. And I have never seen them drunk, like really, really drunk. Like, and those are the ages that we were throwing up on each other. And it's crazy. I'm like, I said, tell him, you basketball team, you guys go out and have beers? He's like, yeah, not really, Dad. We don't. And I'm like, holy, which is crazy. It's bad for me, but so now you got to figure out other ways how to get them in. Like you said, a cover charge. Like at Boatyard, we charge $30 to come in. Residents are free. But you have to. You have to get some kind of charge so you can pay the bills. Because
like, do you sell at your places like the Surfsides, the High Noons, and stuff like that? Which
Surfside is crushing it.
But I feel, but I guess like I look at even some of these young kids now. That's all they drink. When we were that age, it was like whatever we could steal.
Yeah, when it was on sale.
Our parents. Yeah. And it was the worst tasting beer and liquor that you ever had. So that's what I felt like got us so
right to your point.
Messed up. Like I could drink 100 Surfsides and not feel anything.
Me either. Yeah.
I'm like, what's the point?
Like happy dad. Do you remember Cuddy? Do you remember Cuddy? Mark Cuddy?
I think so.
Yeah, he works for them, and that's the Nelk Boys came out with the Happy Dad, and they sponsored us. They're like, listen, we want to be on Long Island, and they were great. They gave us a ton of money. They help out, pay for Theo's events and some DJs and stuff, and they're trying to get into that market. It's not as anything like Surfside, but the thing is, Surfside's at $12. We could never go out. And we were looking for the $4 Budweiser, right?
Yeah, we'd get like, you used to get like a Natty Light 30-pack for $12.
Yeah, and they don't think that way. Like I don't even know the numbers, how much Surfside we went through, but there was nights on a Wednesday night at Boatyard that we were going through 185 cases. Crazy. Wow. And it's not cheap. It's $12 a pop.
The markup isn't probably great for you either, though.
Not really, but still, we could charge 14. We don't, but they would still buy it. Yeah. And you're right. You drink 10 of them, you're like, wow, I feel great. Yeah. It sells more than beer.
Wow.
Yeah, Surfside. Yep.
Scottie, in your tenure of nightlife, it went from probably cash to cashless.
Yeah.
And talk about that and technology and POS and how it's kind of shaped today and 30 years of what you've seen.
Yeah, like when I first got involved, it was all cash. Remember the bangers?
Yeah.
Bangers. We used to call them the bangers. And I remember when POS first started coming, I used to lose bartenders because they're like, oh, I don't want to work on a computer. I want to stay on the banger. But now it's just like, I would say last year was probably 60% credit card to cash, 40%. Now it's closer to 70, 80 credit card. And these kids don't really go out with cash anymore. We have 4 ATMs at Dublin Deck, and we don't go through as much cash as we used to. And, a lot of people are like, well, that sucks what the government really sees, but everything's reported anyway. Like all my places, especially the town places, are all on Toast. That's our POS. And that's all recorded, all edited. Like they know exactly how many stuff we sold, and our sales tax is done daily. Back in the day, we used to pay our sales tax quarterly, and sometimes we didn't have the money.
Right,
It was like
you borrow for but now it's done daily. We know, that's not your money, so it's kind of better that way.
Get it out of your off your books, right?
And the POS knows exactly what it is, and just the technology in general. Even as far as promoting. Like back in the day, me and your brother used to hand out flyers and call people up, begging to come down. Now it's just with the social media, with all the different collabs. I sat down with the Greater Long Island. I don't know if you know those guys, Mike White. Phenomenal. Like we're doing a pop-up for Halloween at Meatball Place, and we had 1,400 likes just on an article that he's written. But it's so much easier now to get the word of mouth. Like we're doing mocays on Wednesday. I'm like, oh my God, it's during the week. We send out 10,000 comps just from our posh. So every time you buy a ticket, obviously you put your phone number in. So we're constantly hitting that crowd. Hey, we have a new party. So you're taking that 10, 20,000 people and just moving them around. But technology today lets you do that. Years ago.
You don't need to pay the kid to go put stuff on the windshield.
No more flyers. It's all social media. It's all, now it's more younger people are used to Snapchat, Instagram. I think Facebook for the older people, but I think it's kind of winding out a little bit. I don't buy as many ads on Facebook like I used to.
Yeah.
But it's night and day, and the technology, like we're buying an app. If I can afford it, for aces and eights, and everything is on an app. So you have your $1,000 spending, you know exactly what you spend, and there's bonus, there's rewards, and that's all done off an app. Back in the day, we can never keep track of that,
Yeah. You could really calculate a ROI now.
Yes.
Whether it's promoters, marketing.
Right. And everything was like up in the air back in the day. Oh, I hope we do 20 grand. But now everything is all coordinated, how much you have to do, what your bills are, what your payroll is. I mean, you guys know better than anyone. And that's all into your calculations. And if, if you're going to make money or not. And that's what technology is really helping us with now.
You think, coming from, the 90s to now, that the technology keeps making you have less partners in the sense of when there was cash, maybe sometimes they'd be putting a little bit in their pocket.
Right. That's one benefit of it. Back in the day, we used to say those 4 bartenders, those are all partners.
That's right.
They can make or break it.
That's why they didn't want to work anymore.
Right. Yeah. Keeping track of them.
Let me see the next place where I could ring stuff up because I could ring it into my own pocket.
Right. And that happened a lot. And it was super hard to catch. And I think with cameras, we joke around. We BC or AC before cameras or after cameras. Like some guys being a jerk. I'm like, whoa, BC, that guy would have been knocked out and out of here. Now AC guys say, sir, you got to leave.
Yeah.
So cameras have really changed the whole game too. And now on our Toast, we know exactly what you're ringing up live live time. And, we know how many customers are coming and what the ring should be. And, we have all these ways of tracking stuff, which up until
you
last
can
couple
catch the anomalies too, right?
Yeah,
Like
the
if,
stuff, it's
four
hard to
bartenders,
steal.
one guy is way off compared
Right.
to the other ones. You're like,
And we do that. And then at night we do an analysis. Hey, Scottie Jr. ring up 5,400. You did 3,600. That's interesting. The next week
Watch
we're
the
staring at
cameras.
him. Yeah. And that's where there's a big benefit. We could really keep track of things, and we could do a lot of forecasting. Stuff with the marijuana stuff, you can't really forecast for that. But everything else, it's live time. You know exactly what's going on. That's the benefit of technology, I think.
You have any Jamie and Dave's coming through the ranking that they approach you and say, hey, I love this business. I'd love to do more. Is there any room at the table for me to sit? Just someone hungry.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I look at places. I used to look at places, once or twice a week. I've slowed down a lot as I get older, but I have people approach me all the time. I have a couple guys now that are very close to being on their own. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, why didn't you do the tap rooms? Why didn't you do Johnny Starr's place? Why did you do... Because that's their thing. I'm working on my thing, and I want them to, I'm the kind of guy that wants everyone to be successful. I think my only competition is my liver. So I want everyone to be successful, because if they're successful, it's just going to make the industry better.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that come up to me, oh, I had this idea. And back in the day, I'm like, let's do it. I'm in now. Now that I'm older and a little bit more comfortable, my kids have grown, my wife retires in 2 years. I'm not phasing out, but I'm not super interested. I think I own and operate about 12 places right now. Back in the day, I'm like, how do I get it to 24? I'm not super interested in that. I'm interested in what I do have, making the most amount of money out of those places and making it a great experience. Like aces and eights means a lot to me. And I put a lot of effort into it, with the Smashburger place in Amsterdam, which is going to be the new Meatball. I want that to be the place where I'm doing 100, 120 a week consistently. And when you go there, holy shit, I had a great experience. I can't wait to come back. Instead of having the places that are okay, I'll go
looking
there.
for the home run.
Yeah. And I just opened up a little German pub called Faileys in Patchogue, take it out of Patchogue. And it was one of the first bars I ever drank at. But, if we run out of beer, we ran out of beer, what are you going to do? It's kind of like a dive bar. And I love that too. But you're not expecting to have a great experience at Faileys.
Yeah. Is that with the Steins?
Yeah. We had 12 German beers. It used to be a deli. Me and my best friend, we had our first beer there. We're like, oh, if this place ever goes under, we're going to take it. And we went to the owner. He's like, take it. But he didn't apply for his permit, so he got his food taken away. So we just redid it. So we're opening the deli pretty soon, and that's not a money maker per se. I mean, we do own the property, which helps, but it's the place where we like to hang our hat. All the owners, James Joyce, Colin, and all those guys, they come there after a long shift. But there, I'm not I don't go out and promote. It's just a place for us to hang our hat and have a good time. Yeah.
Was there ever, or is there currently the potential of going outside of New York for you?
Now, the taproom boys are looking now, because every once in a while, they'll tell me what they're thinking. I had a place in the city, double and over NYC, for about a year. Back then, it was 2001, I believe. The rents were just crazy.
Yeah.
So it was hard. And he's always talks about, I have a house in Jupiter, buying a place down in Florida. I just don't know. Like Johnny Starr, I don't know how he does it, but he has places all over the country.
Yeah.
And I mean, technology helps him. But I feel like if I don't have an influence on a place, I don't want to do it, because I don't know what's really going on. If I'm not there, I think I'd invested in one and I kind of got beat up a little bit. I'm like, I'll never do this again. But who knows? I love to get back into the city. My boys love the city. I have a lot of family in the city, but it's highly competitive and very expensive.
Do you seek out opportunities based on the real estate and if you could own it?
Yes.
Because then you could, have the concept, but then you could sell the concept but own the property and still be the landlord.
That's
right?
my attitude for the last 3 or 4 years. Back in the day, I was like, if I can rent it, thank God. You know what I mean? Now, like, ever since I bought the property, Mark and I bought the property at Dublin Deck, we were like, wow, this was great. We own the property at Harbor Crab. I think pretty much I own all the properties in my places, with the exception of 1 or 2. ITA. I do not own that building. But now, if there's no chance of doing like a agreement in 3 years, if I buy the property, or there's no chance of buying the property, I probably won't do the deal. And I think that's why I haven't been in the city again.
Well, the cost to build out these places is so much money that you almost have to own the property.
It doesn't make sense unless you have
the
a
longevity
phenomenal
of getting
lease.
your money back just on the build out is pretty impossible.
Right. And unless you have a 30-year lease, that's very super low, which doesn't really exist anymore. And like even places that you do lease, you're afraid to put a lot of money into it because how do you get that return? Yeah.
What do you like to do personally? Like your wife's coming up on retirement 2 years, and certainly probably don't want to rush time away too fast. What do you guys do to relax? You travel. Where do you like to eat and check out new things and maybe gain ideas?
Well, yeah, I live in a cool little town. There's a People's Pub, it's walking distance. We go there quite often. 3 or 4 years ago, I kind of got into golf a little bit. My partner Mark did, and I just didn't do it full time. I had memberships and would never go. Like, why are you even paying this membership? And I kind of missed the boat with that. But I think eventually I'll get back into it. I just don't have the time. When I wake up, I'm in
ready to go
club mode. What are we doing? And I have to get out of that. And my wife is ready to go. She has 2 years left. We do one huge trip a year. Last year we went to Portugal. This year we're going to Italy. We're trying to go to Europe. The only problem is she only has certain breaks during the holidays. Right. So our whole plan is, really start winding it down in a couple of years and try to travel. And we have a place in Jupiter.
Gonna stay on Long Island? Well, obviously, place in Florida, so you can bounce back and forth.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever be a snowbird. I don't think we're those type of people that, it's January, let's go get on the plane and go there for 4 months. I think we more, like I bought this place in Jupiter because it was a great opportunity. But now it's like I find myself not wanting to go there as much and really wanting to travel, especially if my wife, if I work my butt off from April 1st, say November 1st, and we could travel from December to March, that's something that I'd be really interested in doing. And that's what I think our plan is, we're saving up so we don't have to worry and, do it right,
Nice.
So those teachers, like Mike's wife, it's like they should probably has like the days.
Oh my God!
She knows. Probably down to the hour.
8 years. Yeah,
really.
She's this is the 8th, so there'll be 7 after this one. But
it goes
she
fast.
goes, who's counting?
Right. Well, my wife.
I'm not counting, but I hear you tell me every day.
Yeah.
She teaches on Long Island.
She does Eastport, South Manor. Okay. And she does children that have autism, some Down syndrome. She does 1211 and behavioral kids. So it's very stressful. And the kids are great. Sometimes the parents don't want to accept that their child. Yeah. But she's ready to go. I mean, she's got 31 years when she's 55. And someone told me the other day, he's like, wow, if she caps out at 35 years, she'll get 78. I was talking about, she goes, no. Because the day I turned 55,
she's out.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
A lot of teachers feel like that.
Yeah.
It's just changed dramatically.
Yeah, and I think it's smart even for the school because after 30 years, get some new blood. Yeah. And a lot of our colleagues have checked out, and then they're just counting the days. Yep.
And Scottie, through the years, you guys give back. Some charities you want to talk about?
Mark Miller's charity, which just started at Harbor Crab. I help, but he's just amazing with it. It's called the Kris Kringle, and I don't even know the numbers, but he's raised. It's kind of cool. We do a golf outing. We do a bunch of benefits, and all this money comes together. People donate. I think last year they got it up to $200,000. And they go with families. And it was fun. I picked out a couple of families through the church that are in need. And it's kind of neat. On about 2 weeks before Christmas, say they have whatever, 10 families at $10,000. They go to the person's house. And it's not to change your life, but say someone got sick and you're behind on mortgage a little bit, or the car broke down. We've actually, Mark has purchased cars for people. Just you're off track a little bit.
Make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
a little bit easier.
And a lot of people that he's helped are back on their feet, and they come to the Kris Kringle and help out now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, full circle.
And I do one. It actually started with Kevin Connolly from Entourage, a kid I grew up with, Pete Picatagio. You know, back at Christmas, we were buying shit for each other that we never even used. So we're like, let's put our stuff together and leave it at someone's house and ring the doorbell and leave. And we did that for a while. Then we were like, wow, let's step it up. Let's have, it was a little VFW. Let's have 100 people for Christmas dinner that can normally not have Christmas dinner. And that was about 15 years ago. Now it's just involved. It's called Home for the Holidays. So every Christmas day, which is crazy, my kids and my wife, myself, and probably another 7 families have volunteered their Christmas to feed all. They come to our restaurant, Meatball, and last year we fed almost 700 people. They come in. Now since COVID, it's actually easier because we give the food to go, and then they get clothing and they get toys. And this is these are people that some are homeless, some people are really down on their luck. A lot of it, we go into the Hispanic community, a lot of them in Patchogue, and it's just that one day they're gonna have, and it's good food, and all the restaurants from around Patchogue donate. So we have prime rib, we have chicken, island empanadas. They donate their whole time, and these is people that are giving up the whole Christmas day to help 600 or 700 people, and nobody complains about it. At the end, we all have wine, and we're all just like, yeah, we did a great thing today.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, we've done it, and it's gotten bigger and bigger every year. And we're very excited. Someone actually asked me the other day, like, yo, you guys still doing the Home for the Holidays? I'm like, of course. You know, where are these people going to go, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? It's also important, like you're building a culture, right? And I think the other thing that we live by is just creating the best culture for our employees, because it's not hard to get. It's pretty hard to get good employees, right? And,
especially today.
And for you, that has some of your places are such seasonality to it.
Right.
Like it's even harder, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
You know,
it's tricky when people come work for 4 months and know what am I going to do all year round, and it's hard to get those same people back every summer. Yep.
Yeah, but when you build a good business, a good culture, you're getting the best people that come through your doors rather than the worst. I
agree. I think it's all about culture, and it's funny you should say that, because when people come for Home for the Holidays, I've had managers that worked 20 years ago and 15 years ago that come back just for that day. I'm like, holy Joe.
That's a testament to you guys.
Yeah. And they know, they're like, Scottie, I would never, ever work for you again. But I will be home. I'll be there for Home for the Holidays, because this is just amazing. And I think we get more out of it than the people that actually come, you know?
What would you tell a 20-year-old Scottie? You know, anything?
Go back to college.
Any regrets coming through and the path that you've been on?
No regrets. I guess early on, drinking too much and not being super healthy. And it's funny because a couple of colleagues, obviously I won't mention their name, but couldn't handle it. You know, they got really into drugs. And you know, you got to remember in the 90s, mid 90s, there was a crack. And people who were freebasing and stuff. And to this day, I have a couple of friends that were business owners that got involved with that. I never did, thank God. I like to drink. And, you know, early on, you got to be careful. And I say to a lot of, I had a couple of really good, talented bartenders that were up 4 or 5 nights in a row. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? You know, and then finally they had to go to rehab so that's the real danger. If I could change it all over again, probably in my early 20s, I would remember it a little bit better, you know, not drinking as much, not being out as much, and, you know, getting involved with gambling. And I wish from like 21 to 30, I saved more money. You know, not that I'm okay, I'm doing great now, But the guys like Jamie Bonanno that were younger, that are saving their money and they're living a really nice life because they were smart with the money. Back then, we spent whatever we made and
was all
overindulged. Yeah.
It wasn't coming on a check in your
Right.
bank
It was
account. It was
cash.
just right in your pocket.
Quick funny story. Back, me and Mark Miller, back in the days when we were drinking, we drank a lot and we took the cash register, the old banger, and we threw it in the back of his Jeep. We hired this one of our bar backs, Spanish guy at the time, great guy. He was sober and drove us down to Atlantic City. We had all the cash in the register. Like, all right. We thought it was funny putting the register in there. We couldn't open up the register without electricity. So now we're picking up the register and throwing it off the Jeep so it pops open because we need the money to gamble. Next thing you know, the cops come. We get arrested. Someone our accountant had to tell us, oh, yes, they do own this place. So that's probably my only regret. I wish that I paid attention more in my early years. If I could go back
Cop was like, you realize if you just plugged it to an outlet,
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
open.
When we said that, Mark was like, you have any electric?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's probably the only regret that I can think of. But otherwise, I love the business. I love people. I love watching. My biggest thing, and we say it, it's a 3-hour escape, staycation, vacation. My biggest thing, especially with sessions with Theo, because he's an amazing DJ, and my partner Joe in that business, we love watching people have a great time. We love, just for those 3 hours, you work your butt off, you're going to college, whatever. For those 3 hours, you're going to have a phenomenal time and be safe. And that is my biggest gratitude. It's not the money. It's not, people thinking you're great, whatever. It's watching people just have a phenomenal time.
They forget about life for a little
Forget
bit.
about life for a while. And not just the drinking part of it, but dancing. And we're like, oh, God, this is a great song. And that's what I watch with Theo. He knows how to read a crowd and he knows how to play great music. For those 3 hours, especially with the younger crowd, they have an amazing time.
I said I met my wife at Neptune's when
Oh, you did?
when Theo was DJing.
Yeah.
He did an okay job there.
Yeah. Yep. That was fun when you came out
Phenomenal.
there.
I mean, some of
Neptune's cash
the
only
best
there.
Cash only.
some of the best memories of summers in the late 90s.
Yeah. Yep. That place was an institution.
Yeah.
I do see Vinny Maggio a lot. He owned Neptune's.
Yeah. He sold the property, right?
Yeah. The town actually
Town bought it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
It's like a weird.
Joey spent
like
a lot
a-
of time Neptune's
Oh,
and
yeah,
Summers
man.
promoting.
Me, him, and Victor did a party there
Victor,
one time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's like a.
Yeah, it's like a
Museum?
Something.
Some sort.
for-
That's boring.
Not a Neptune's museum.
No. Thank God.
Well, this was certainly a walk down memory lane
Yeah.
and a lot of fun. And
I can't believe how much you look like your brother. It's so amazing.
yeah, we'll do lunch. We'll
Yes,
hang out.
please.
And, continued success to
Thank you.
you, your partners, your sons, your family, and
Appreciate it.
really everything Scottie touches turns to gold. At least in my
All the
eyes.
stuff you hear about.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
But
You don't hear about the ones that don't do
keep at it, keep giving back, and it's so nice to hear. So,
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you,
very
Scottie.
blessed, and I really appreciate you guys having me on here.
Of course.
And I love the things that you guys are doing, and I'll be paying attention.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scottie.
Great.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.